From Chicago to the Bayou to Wisconsin to New Zealand, Tom. That's where we're headed to today. To how do you pronounce this track? Wingatui? How would you pronounce it?
I thought Wingatui, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, we go with Wingatui. That's about how we play it, right? We Wingatui.
Well, this is in a town with a population of under 1,000. So, and it's in the South Island, so it's very, very far south.
Yeah, I saw a picture of the track. It just looks like somebody's big backyard.
Yeah. And considering it's been there since the 1880s, I mean, it's not like it's a new track.
No, but it kind of doesn't look like one either. It's just like I said, it looks like somebody's backyard. Is like they put a fence around and the horses run. It's a lot of fun. So we'll be covering 5 races today. If you haven't had a chance to yet, make sure you head over to Horse Racing Radar TV, subscribe on YouTube, but more importantly, check out the show last night if you're going to be playing Delta Downs this weekend with Ty Kennedy. Learned some really good stuff last night, I feel, about Delta Downs, Tom. What about you?
I agree. Some very good insight by Ty. And if you do play that track, you really do take a listen to that podcast, because it is a tricky track to play.
It is.
And he really gave us some nice ideas of how races are run, but also what kind of horses you're looking for, and why those horses, the local horses, have the home field advantage.
There's speed, and then there's Delta
Downs.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know what sort of speed they have in New Zealand at Wingatui, since that's how the official pronunciation is here. But we got 5 races. Let's, before we get started, kind of take a look at the track layout. This is probably more modern looking than the actual track, right? So here you can see it looks like they run around the track the wrong way. No, the right way, right, Tom?
Yeah, they are anti-clockwise, they refer to it as. We can refer to it as counterclockwise.
Yes, but they're running the right way. That's all that matters to me. They're not running backwards.
Yes.
So you can see
we got one couple races in the chute, and then we have some with 2 turns. So
should be fun for sure. So
it's an interesting track, an interesting layout, and I always like any mile chutes tracks. I always thought that was a nice addition, and I saw that Saratoga is putting their chute back in to run mile races. So
change everything all around then.
Yeah.
So last week we did in Dubai, Meydan, and I never knew that there was a such thing as like what was it, a 14-2 odds? No, it's like 13-2, something like that odds. But and then what's crazy is I was emailing Tom, I can't. Did they run these races? Where are they? I couldn't find them anywhere. So Tom sends me back a link for the results, but they give you the results, but they don't tell you what anything paid. I had no idea what anything paid. Do you?
No, I don't. I didn't. I was more interested in the results just to see what what I did and if I was on the right track, so to speak. Today's racing that just concluded from Meydan had a Hot Rod Charlie. Looked very good in his win in a Group 2 race, and Creative Flair, who we saw run in France and UK, also ran very well, and nice win for her. So they're all gearing up for the end of the March with the big races that will be happening then. And I'm planning on covering those. I think you probably want to do it too, because
we will for sure.
Life is Good may be running the Dubai Cup, so that would be an interesting matchup between Life is Good and Hot Rod Charlie.
It would be indeed. But before we go to the Dubai Cup, we're going to start in New Zealand at the Nellies Bar and Restaurant race.
Perfect, right?
If there's ever been a better segue, I don't know what it is. I mean, those things are apples to apples for sure, Tom. Wouldn't you say?
I think so. Yeah, without question.
So the Nellies Bar and Grill or Bar and Restaurant, which sounds like a pretty good place to go. I suppose if I ever go down to this track, I'll make sure I stop at Nellies Bar and Restaurant simply because of this one. This one is 1 3/8 miles, Tom. And then it's going to start tonight The first race time, race number 5. So we're doing 5 through 9 tonight at 8:33 p.m. Eastern, provided they are better at post times than Gulfstream Park.
That wouldn't take much.
No, it wouldn't take much at all. It'd just be within 5 minutes of post time, and you're probably going to be better. So tell us who you like to start off our first venture to the one of the lands down under, I suppose.
Yeah, it's I took number 12, Extreme Miss. Has 31 starts, has 2 wins and a placing. It moves up from a BM74 race, last out, finished an okay 5th, lost by 4 lengths, drops back in this level, and seems to be fit more with these horses than it did in the last race. It's won over the distance once and has 3 starts at it. The one thing this horse will be nowhere to be found at the beginning of the race, and will be flying at the end. So we get a good pace in here. The horse should have a good chance.
Well, there's a lot more numbers here than I expected. So this website is racenet.com-au.
Yeah,
where all this information's from.
And number 3, No Quarter Asked is my second choice. 12 starts, has a 1 win and 2 placings. It won a race at this level 2 back when they added blinkers. And then, before that, I'd been trying the maiden level without success, but they moved it up into the BM65 race, and it won. But they made a change in the equipment, so that helped a lot. Last time it raced a little wide, and had no cover, and just didn't run a good race. It may have. I'm going to dismiss that one. I'm going to say it's got a chance. It's one of those horses that took a while to break its maiden, but ironically did it at this level, and let's see what it can do in the here again, back with some similar types of horses. Number 7, Countess Ruby is my final choice. She's raced a few times in her life. She's has 63 starts. She has 4 wins and 11 placings. She has 2 wins at this distance and 3 placings with 21 tries at this distance. Last out, she sat third, finished a good third. She sat mid-pack most of the race and then made a move up forward. Her race at this distance, she settled 7th and ran a nice little 4th. Now, I thought the gear change report was very interesting for that 2 race back, because it says she's in fold. So I don't see her winning, but I think she can make a good account for herself in this race, and I think she's coming to form.
Well, I Hey Mickey was my second choice before, but I'm starting with number 9.
Hey Mickey scratched. So.
Yeah, I see that down here. Hey Mickey scratched, unfortunately. So my first selection is going to be Vincenza. This is a horse here that it looks to me like the longer the race, the better this horse is done. Career at the track, has a second in one race, right? So track at the distance, it was at this distance. So I think the horse can do pretty well at the longer the race, the better. As I mentioned, Hey Mickey is scratched. My next selection here, Tom, and I'm always trying to do basic stuff when I'm doing these international things, and so I'm basically looking for horses that can handle the distance, that have some, and maybe have a little bit of history at this track as well. So my second choice is Idle Lady. It looks like this horse is 16-1 odds. Idle Lady won its last time out. Tom was the first of 13 horses, as you can see. And it just seems to me, from looking at the form, the longer the race, the better off this horse is. So that tells me this horse has a lot of late legs to it. So I'm expecting, when I'm watching later on tonight, that Idle Lady will be coming at the end. And then finally, I close out my picks with number 8, Verdingerous, maybe, 10-1 shot right now. This is a horse that looks to me, again, just like the 4-horse Idle Lady, that the longer the race is, the better it's going to run. And that's what I'm expecting for it. And the horse ran its last race 13 days ago, Tom, and won. So they're flipping this one right around. And it's been my experience that when trainers flip horses right around, they're usually doing so because, at least over here, they feel like the horse is in conform and they're trying to cash as many as they can while they can.
Yeah.
Would you say that's,
Alan,
but it's not as
Alan,
uncommon over there though, right?
It's more common in the Europe and also in Australia and New Zealand. But Alan Jenkins, Hall of Fame trainer forever, he said, yeah, you should, when your horses are winning and running well, you got to run them. And I agree with that. There are a lot of them that put them away, for, they win a race and they put them away. And I'm like, well, the horse is winning. Why would you?
Unless it's injured. Yeah. But I mean,
yeah, I mean, unless there's a problem with the horse. I mean, yeah, I understand that part of it, or comes back as a bleeder or whatever. But I do think that we tend to be a little more conservative in this country with turning horses back as quickly as they do in Europe.
One thing we should note too, that it's soft 7 over there tomorrow.
Yeah.
So soft 7, if I remember correctly, is probably just a few away from upgrade.
Heavy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or downgrade too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in the middle of the soft, I guess. So race.
New Zealand listing was dead 4. I love that.
Dead 4.
Yeah, dead 4 is the track rating.
Oh my Lord! I don't think you
I
should
know that was hilarious.
But I think you ought not use those words with horses. Unfortunately, doesn't work out that well. All right, so the next race is race number 6, Tom. It's the Alleviate Dunedin Gold Cup. This one's worth $39,000. Tom, they're going to run 1.5 miles on the track. Let's pull the screen back up here again. I don't think there's a couple scratches. I hope I didn't scratch.
3 out.
Yeah, one of mine scratched out again, so that's terrible. But anyway, it's only down to 3 picks. But what do you got cooking here in this 1.5 mile race on soft 7 at New Zealand?
I like number 9. Sulu C is my top choice. 39 starts, has 4 wins and 11 placings. The last 4 races have been good, and they've been running at various tracks, and that includes today's track. So I always like to see that they're consistent, appears to be in form. Tried the Group 3 level last out, ran 4th. Moved up in the race and then got passed. Is the best way to describe it. Well, so this is a little bit of a drop. Versus this type of, it's had a 4th versus open company at this track. It ran mid-pack, had some problems at the start. And, that's just, it happens. Better effort versus the Bm74 level horses with a 1st and a 2nd. So there's been form in the past. They're running the horse pretty regularly, and it seems to be just fine. I think this is a much better placement than trying to win a Group 3. So that was why I took that choice. I think the draw helps too.
And it looks like too, according to this here, that it's best records on soft too. So it's been in the money. What is it? 11 out of 25 times on the soft surface, the highest percent than any other surface.
Yeah. So that was part of my thinking too, is that and I think the form's there. I think the horse has been running well. 3 is my next choice. It's River Rook. Has another one with 43 starts, 5 wins, and 14 placings. He's was about a front runner in the last 3 starts, with some success in placing, but no wins. That was a bit of a change because they used to pull it back a little more. Today, there'll be an equipment change, so they're going to take the winkers off, which are those half cup blinker type things. They call it a little differently there. So my question is, are they looking for the horse to go back a little and make a run, or are they going to forwardly place this horse as they've done in the last 3 races? So I'm not sure what the strategy is, but I thought it fit this race, and I'm going to take a shot with it. It's not going to go off at low odds, but
it's right now 8-1. It looks like that's not bad.
No, it's pretty good. Cesar number 8 is my final choice. has 22 starts, 4 wins, and 5 placings. The last 2 races are at this track. One at 2,200 meters. Last out. It's never been this distance, but the form and the way it's running on this track kind of leads me to believe that this horse can get that distance.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is this. I think this is going to be a short-priced horse.
Yeah. Well, we're laying out. Looks like it's the favorite at about 7-2.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2-1. So I really couldn't leave it out just because of its form over the track. Really hard for me to pass on a horse that is definitely likes the track and is in form.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I don't know if this has ever happened before, but we have the same 3 horses.
I don't think
Except
it is.
I think in a little bit different order, though. I have the 8 horse on top. I figure, you talked about the distance. I feel like it can handle the distance, no problem. As you mentioned, the track, 3 runs on the track, 2 wins. It's run well here. You can see on a soft surface, 14 times on the board, 7 of 14 with 3 wins. So it doesn't mind the off surface. I have the number 9 horse then as my second choice, which was your first choice, Sulasi. I'm just learning how to press these buttons because it's all sites new to me. So another one that's run pretty well on the soft turf, 11 of 25. I think we talked about that before. And it looks to me like when you look at the comment in here, it says, when I was looking at, and I'll put a link to it, there's some free international past performances that I found from this website over here. What is it again? From Hollywood Races. Yeah. So I'll get that out to you. It'll be included in the links there. But the comment was racing superb of late. Kind of hard to go over that. We'll go away from that comment, right?
Yeah.
And then number 3, Riviera Rock. I think this horse is probably going to be one of your pace setters, Tom. And a lot of times too, when you get like these races on a like a soft track, at times if you can get the right pace and dirt and mud and grass is kicking up in other horses' faces, they can get discouraged. So same horses, just a little bit different order.
Well, the big thing with the Riviera Rock on the Rook on the front will be, is it going to set too fast of a pace for the type of courses running on?
Mm-hmm.
They can slow things down, as they generally do in those kind of races. I think it has a chance, and that's why I put it in there.
The next race, I'm getting another scratch, Tom. I scratched out of all of my picks. So I'm on, instead of having 4 this week, I get the only 3. So I have to be more precise. This one is 1 mile. I don't know what this is. It's the Odt Sthrn Mile Qualifier. I don't know what the ODT stands for. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm just going to go with it. It means ODT. We'll stick with it is what it says it is, right? As Dennis Green said, they are who we think they are. If you remember that commentary, that was a long time ago, Tom. So who do you like here?
My top choice is number 2, Pete the Driver. Has 16 starts, 2 wins, and 1 placing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 3rd start off its layoff and finished 3rd and 6th in its other 2 races. The last race would be the best way I could describe it, would be even. I don't know how else to describe it. It really didn't seem to do anything. I mean, it was there, it was up, and then didn't really do a lot. I like the first start off the layoff was running 3rd, sat close to leaders, and then didn't finish. But it's a class dropper, so it's coming down to a level where it's won before, and I think it's got a chance in here. My concern that the handicapper pointed out is that it is adding weight. So it's adding 3.5 kilos to run with 60 kilos. So they're penalizing the horse for having success at this level. But I'm thinking it can overcome that at the mile. It likes the distance, and I think it'll have a good chance here. Number 3, Country Boy is my next choice. 12 starts, has a 1 win and 3 placings. It's won at the track and in the distance in a maiden race. So it's a little more lightly raced horse. It's shown pace in some races, and then he sat back in other races. So, he ran a 4th, but he was wide last out. So he really didn't get a great trip. I'm thinking you get a better trip here, a little better draw too helps, and we'll see. Race before, it was a run over this track. He ran 7th in the race, being that, and then when he was asked to go, well, he didn't. And the reason I say that is because he was 3rd, 2nd at the calls, then moved to 2nd, then back to 3rd. So got a little bit of a even footing, but didn't really finish. I just think I'm looking at the field. I like the horse better than some of the other ones that are in here, and I think it can get that. I don't know if it can win, but I certainly think it can be placing.
Well, it seems like it's in good form lately. Here, 2 of 10, 4 of 14, 2 of 14. So horse looks like it's in good form right now.
Yeah, it looks okay.
Yeah, in the money on the soft, 4 out of 8. I'll take that.
Yeah, I think my final horse drew in, but I wasn't 100% sure what the scratch is. Yeah, it did draw it. Pinhead, number 15.
I was going to guess that one.
And 15 starts, has 2 wins. Well, after the layoff, it ran 14th out of 14 in its first start. That's not great.
Nope.
Bit of improvement in its next race at 4th, and it led most of the race. The comment being is this is a horse that likes to speed, cut the mile. It seems to like that kind of racing, and I also note that its 2 wins are on the heavy going. So I'm thinking, well, if it can get to the front and set a reasonable pace, it'll have a chance to get in here sometime. It's won once at this distance out of 3 tries. I always like to see it being able to do that. And, yeah, definitely a placing. I don't see it winning.
I don't see it winning either, Tom. For me, I think I'm looking at the horse that you liked as well as your second pick. I have Country Boy as my top selection. Country Boy has been a horse, and one of the things I like to pay attention to, because I consider it to be, the odds are as they stock price is, it's the reflection of all available information, right? And all the available information in every single race had Country Boy well bet. So the bettors like this horse. I expect they'll like Country Boy once again. My second pick was going to be Decisive, but unfortunately, Decisive scratched. So the next up for me is Capo del Impero. This horse is, looks like he's about 6-1 right now. It's run on a soft track 6 times, has a win, a place, and a show. But when I was looking through the program, the other program that I mentioned before, it's a really strong jockey trainer combo. Both hit at a high percentage. So I think you're going to probably see this. I wouldn't be surprised based upon the jockey trainer combo. And it looks like it's the trainer is Mr. Anderson. The jockey is C. Campbell. But their win rates were pretty high. And then you put them together, they were really high. And then finally, my last selection, here's my bomb, Tom, is Bridgetown, 51-1. I don't even think anybody's bet on him yet, but horse has run on a soft track 57 times. How about that, Tom? Been in the money 19 out of 57 times. But that's what I liked about this horse, Tom. It's run at the distance 55 times and it's finished in the money 21 times. So what is that? It's a little bit about maybe 38, 37%, right?
Yeah. And with 104 starts, that's not so bad.
Well, in 55 starts at the distance, 21 times in the money. So about 30, yeah, like 38% of the time is finishing in the money. So 38% of the time in the money. And I'm getting the morning line of 51-1. I'm not expecting this one to win, but if it's got a 38% chance to finish second or third or first and hits the exacta or trifecta, that's going to bump the New Zealand payout, whatever their conversion rate is. Hopefully it's better than the one that I saw when I hit the big one in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong.
Yes, for sure. Race number 8, Tom, is the White Robe Lodge. So we have to either go to Nellies Restaurant or the White. Well, maybe we can go to one for breakfast and one for dinner, one for lunch when we get out there. This one is another 1 mile race on the, it's a grade 3 open company, G3. This one will start at roughly 10:18 p.m. Eastern. So if you're out by Terry, just a little bit after bedtime at 7:18 in the afternoon. There are any scratches in this one, Tom, this time around that I didn't get in my picks? Let's see.
I think there was one.
There's a few of them. The 2, the 8, and the 11. Do I have the 2, 8, and the 11? And the paper says yes.
Well, that's the way your luck's been going.
Yes. Well, I got a scratch in every race. It was my top pick, too, the 11 horse. So anyway, who do you like here?
I took number 6 seriously. It has 21 starts, 3 wins, and 4 placings. Has 2 wins at the track, and one of those was at this distance.
Mm-hmm.
It was forwardly placed last time out in a listed race, moved on the turn and was passed and finished 4th. It's got a placing in a Group 2 race when it made all the running and got caught at the end. I see this on the lead. I don't think there's any question that it's going to be out there in the front. I just hope that it can hold on. And it does like this distance, and it does like this track, so why not? Number 9, Monza Circuito. 42 starts, 6 wins, and 14 placings. No wins at this track, but it's won once at this distance and has 4 placings. So the mile seems to suit. Winner last time out in a listed race by a length, and it went off at a whopping 30-1 odds. So a lot of people missed that horse.
Yeah, down to 8-1 this time.
Yeah, and let's face it, it's a good accounting for itself in a listed. Now the form will be, is it going to reverse in form again? Is my issue going to be my main concern here? But it steps up a little. It's also going to be near the front. And no, you're not going to get those odds again.
I like it just because one of the owners is 12 Monkey Syndicate.
Well, it's perfect, right?
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? Maybe that's what we should change the name of our company to, the 12 Monkey Syndicate.
I took 4. William Wallace is my final choice. 48 starts, 8 wins, and 7 placings. It has no starts at this track, so this will be a first time. But it has 2 wins up from 14 tries at this distance. He's raced in group company without success. He's has 2 races in a listed races, and he's had his win in those. So he's been on the border of being a group winner, but not quite. This is a horse that comes from the clouds, and that's the only way to describe it. If the nearest one is last, he's even farther back because it's a 1-run horse. And if there's plenty of pace up there, which I think there's going to be, you watch out for this horse because I can't leave it off my ticket.
Well, he's $6.50 to 1. I'm going to start with number 5. Ray is in command, a $5 horse. He's a 5-1 morning line. He's run at the track, Tom, 14 times. You see that over there?
Yep.
How many wins? 6. Ran at the distance 9 times. He's got 3 wins. Track and distance, 7 runs at the track, at the distance, and he's won 3 of those with a second. So, and he's done pretty well on the soft turf here too. It looks like he's 13 times on the soft, 5 wins. So the horse definitely fits the track, the likely surface, and the distance. But it wasn't my first pick. My first pick, as I mentioned, decisively scratched. I also like the 6 horse Seriously, Tom. I seriously do like Seriously. It's another horse that has a really good jockey trainer combination. I don't know that he's going to be on the front. I think he's probably going to be a little bit, maybe 3rd or 4th off the lead. Forwardly placed, but not necessarily pulling the cart. And then my last pick of the day is, at this race, is number 10, Beneficial, 8-1 odds. This is a horse that is what I call a Denzel Washington horse. If you watch the show with Terry and I, and it's a Denzel says that in life, like if you keep knocking at the door, eventually the door opens, except he says if you're in the barbershop Eventually, you're going to get a haircut if you spend enough time in the barbershop. This horse doesn't win, as you can see. At the track, 5 races, 0 wins. At the distance, 11 races, 0 wins. At the track and distance, 3 races, 0 wins. But constantly in the money. 3 out of 5 at the track, 7 out of 11 at the distance, 2 of 3 at the track and distance. So it's a Denzel Washington horse that's always in the barbershop. I think this could be the time that Beneficial gets a haircut. And that brings us to the last race that we're going to cover in New Zealand today, Tom. And again, I will take the program that I use to make my picks. I'll link to it. The links to these races will also be in the recap that I'll put over at horseracingtoday.net. Race number 9 is the Wally O Hearn Stakes or whatever it is. It starts at 10:53 p.m.
Doesn't sound like a restaurant.
No, it might be a restaurant though, right?
Never know, yeah.
Maybe a lawyer too. You never know, something along those lines, or just maybe an old patron of the track that they're honoring. But this one starts at 10.
Been there long enough, so that would be possible.
Could be probably too many names there that could fit that bill. But this one starts at 10:53 p.m. Eastern. Terry will be in bed for at least an hour and a half by the time it starts at 7:53 p.m. over on the Pacific Coast. This one is 7 furlongs, so it's kind of that quirky distance in between, Tom. Let's see if I have any scratches in this one. All of them are probably scratched, right? Let's see.
Yeah. Well, the way your luck's going.
Do I have? I don't have the 2. Do
Yeah.
I have the 8? I don't have the 8. Do I have the 11? What? Do I have the wrong race? Oh, there we go. All right. The 6, I Am a Rock. I do not have I Am a Rock. All right, so let's pull up the race. I got the right ones. Here we go. How do you like this one?
I went with number 5. Pull Your Socks Up.
Yeah, damn it.
Has 32 starts, has 4 wins and 8 placings. It's 1 for 1 at this track.
And it happened to be at this distance too.
Yeah, and it has 3 wins from 6 placings at this distance with 15 tries. Placed once in a listed race and tried group races without much success. And, it made all the running last time out, ran second. From the description I got was that the winner just swept by her, and she was good enough to beat everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I like the last race. It was her best effort in recent races. I think she's going to continue to go forward because the race before she backed up and went 8th. And the other comment I thought was interesting. Now, they're not picking it to win, the handicapper I read, but he said you can't leave it out of your trifectas or your super. They don't offer supers, but they do offer the trifecta. Mm-hmm. And so his thinking is the horse can get in the money. I'm thinking based on that last race, I think we'll continue to see improvement. And if it gets to set a reasonable pace and based on the fact that it's won at this track and it likes the soft going and it likes the wet going, I think it's got a good chance here. I took number 9, Cozy Nook, as my next choice. Has 7 starts, 2 wins and 2 placings. It's never raced at this track, but it's won and placed from 3 runs at this distance. And I like that.
4 of 6 in the money on soft too.
Yeah. And, it's moving up because it's winning. And won its last 2 races at lower levels, but, you got to go with a hot horse. And this appears to be, and I don't think they drop her into this race because we're only 13 days out from the last race. Mm-hmm. So this appears to be a very informed horse. And I thought the maiden win was a very interesting race because the comments were that that she was boxed in, had to steady while tracking the leaders, but still won. And I think that shows a lot of a young horse because, again, it took a few races to break its maiden, but once it did, it's now won 2 in a row. Mm-hmm. It's up in class, but after those last 2 efforts, I really think it's got a great chance. Either it could easily win here, but definitely for a placing. Number 2, Mint Julep is my final choice. It has 20 starts, has 4 wins and 4 placings. It's a winner of 1 of 7 starts at this track and never won at this distance, but it did place once.
And that was at this track too.
And this was at this track, yeah. The it's had 0 success racing in group level or listed level, but I think it's suited for here. The last races were against open and listed horses. It finished 5th and 6th. It was mid-pack in the race, and the best way to describe it is it didn't finish. So it's going to get some class relief here. It's done as it seems to be one of those horses that's a plotter, from the description I read, and I think it can do enough to plot along and possibly win, but I certainly think it's good enough to finish in the money.
Collect some money for you. I started off with number 1, Tyler 8. Tyler 8 is a horse that's lightly raced in this group. I think the most lightly raced horse in this group. And I like the lightly raced horses because you just don't know really what their upside is yet. So at 5 races, you don't have a complete picture of Tyler 8, and I expect that his horse should do fairly well. Has run on a soft track 3 times, Tom. You can see there it has 2 wins and a third. So it looks to me like it's his preferred surface, a soft track. I also like the Pull Your Socks Up horse, number 5, Tom. As we mentioned before, Pull Your Socks Up is done well at the track, Tom. He has 1 win at the distance, and overall at the distance, Tom, he's been in the money 9 out of 15. The soft track, it's not been as strong numbers, 6 out of 17 finishing in the money there. So I did like that. And then when I look, my next pick, Tom, is number 11. Let me close this up real quick here. Number 11, so far a little bit chalky for me. Number 11 is 9-1. This is a horse, Tom, that went on a long break and came back in after almost like 9 months on the bench. And since he's come back, Tom, he's got the first race off the bench was a second, followed by 2 consecutive wins. And I expect that you're going to see this horse continue to improve up that ladder. Horse is definitely in good form right now. And probably, I actually honestly think of all the horses in the field, this one is in the best form. I was really contemplating, those first 3 were really very difficult for me to separate. And then finally, my last pick of the day is our Teddy Boy, 17-1, Tom. This horse should be better off its second start off a layoff. Here it says in its second start has got a win and a second and 7 tries. When I look at the track and the distance, the horse has run well at the track, Tom. It's been in the money 12 of 21 at the distance. A little bit of a Denzel Washington, or as Terry calls it, a Bob Dylan horse, knocking on the door. Track and distance 4 times, Tom, with a pair of thirds. And finally, at the soft, it looks to me like that it is soft or heavy are either of its preferred surfaces, because on soft, been in the money 14 out of 27. On a heavy, 6 out of 11, and then on a good track, just 2 out of 10. So the heavier the course, the happier our Teddy Boy is. Tom, too many T words for me, man. Hopefully, the heavy track will lead to a nice win for us tonight with our Teddy Boy, because I'm going to be interested to see. I'll be up while these are going on. These are not insomnia races.
No, these are not insomnia racing.
These are just before you go out races.
Yeah. Well, you just think of it this way. A lot of the U.S. tracks have ended, especially on the East Coast, and you're ready to start with some different action.
And that's if
definitely interesting. I've watched some of the racing from there, and it's very competitive. And there's some nice horses that have come out of New Zealand that race in other places, the top one being Very Elegant at this point in time, Melbourne Cup winner. So they do produce some nice horses, and it seems to be very competitive and very popular with 65 different racing organizations out there. And I forgot the track number, but it's a rather large number of tracks too. But one thing I did find is if one track is unusable for their racing, because it may be only a day that they race, they do tend to move to another. They'll move their racing car to a different track. And I kind of like that idea because then you get the racing in and everybody's notified ahead of time so they know where they're going to go and what they can do. And the only thing I found was when they sometimes do that is there seems to be a lot of scratches.
Yeah, well, people probably don't want to ship the horse from wherever A to B, so it's probably a little bit of expense they
and
don't want to cover.
you're going, they're islands, so moving from one island to the next.
Yeah, that would be very difficult as well. But I look forward to the backyard racing this evening tonight, Tom, too, because it'll be fun for me. Like you said, the day will be wrapped up, and a lot of times for me, especially on Fridays, because Sunday through like now is just nonstop for me. So when we hang up, I got a little bit of work to do on horseracingtoday.net. I got to put up what we're discussing on Horse Racing Today. All our picks and notes will be there, so you can check that out at horseracingtoday.net. Also, a copy of the video. I have to put up Chris's picks for the Kentucky qualifying races. And then, of course, I have to put up the podcast from last night with Ty Kennedy for tomorrow. So a little bit of work left to do. But after that, my day's pretty wide open. Going to paint. The People's Gas people are coming over to my house because there's some law in Illinois now where they got to come check your meter every year to make sure it's not leaking. I was like, dude, there's one thing for sure about gas. When it's leaking, it's leaking. There's no
you can't miss that smell.
No, you can't miss that smell at all. So I don't smell it at all. But in any case, and now today, the dryer decided it doesn't want to work. So a day where I feel like I'm going to have off, there's always something in to fill that box.
Now, is it a gas dryer?
It is a gas dryer, yeah.
Maybe they knew something you didn't.
Well, it's not that the dryer is not it won't start turning. It's an oil dryer.
Different issue.
Yeah, completely different issue. Terry and I will be back tomorrow. I'm having difficulties separating my teas today, so I have to take my brain juice before I go to sleep tonight. But Terry and I will be back tomorrow to cover 4 stakes races. We'll be doing the Wither Stakes at Aqueduct, which is race number 8. The Holy Bowl at Gulfstream Park, race 11, and then we'll head on over to the West Coast for Santa Anita, where we'll be detailing the Santa Monica Stakes and the San Pascal Stakes. So it should be a good day of stakes racing tomorrow. I think there's 19 stakes races across all the different cards tomorrow, so plenty of big races in the United States. So you got Friday racing, you got New Zealand racing, and then you got stakes racing tomorrow, Tom.
Absolutely. Well, we should note that for if you're looking at Oaklawn, they did cancel all their races. They're going to run those races in March. Ice storm.
Yeah, today, tomorrow, and Sunday. They canceled already the weekend. Yeah. All right, that wraps up our Foreign Friday. As always, if you like what you saw, what should people do, Tom?
Well, I hope they've subscribed to us because we got some good racing coming up pretty soon. And I don't know where we're going to go next week, but there's lots of interesting places we could go.
I'm sure we'll find our place somewhere in the world.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. There's always racing somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope you will subscribe to us because we need those numbers to keep going up. And we appreciate you listening and watching, and hopefully we give you a few winners.
Yep, that's the key there. A 13-2 winner. That's odds you don't see here. Like Tom said,
I'll take anything at this point.
Hey, a W is a W. Hey, on the bottom down there, you see on the scroller, Horse Race Today. That's the Twitter handle. That's the Facebook handle. Go over there, give us a thumbs up. Here on YouTube at Racing Radar, please subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000. Tell your friends about us. And as always, we hope that all of your picks end up in the winner's circle, be it in New Zealand, be it Aqueduct, be it at Santa Anita. As always, folks, have a fantastic Friday.
Well, working to Saturday.
Yeah. See you tomorrow with Tom. Have a great Friday, everybody.